Hey guys, I'm just sharing the link around and then we're gonna talk about sex, baby. I don't know who's in the chat already, but we will see, and we're gonna see who else we can add and have some fun tonight. I'm just sharing the link around since this was not a last minute thing, but just not a regularly scheduled thing. Yeah, I'm having so much fun. I don't know about all of you, but it really, really, really annoys me. This one's a slut, that one's a slut, this one's a slut, when we really ignore the biggest sluts, which are the men. Not to mention the fact that soap opera characters are supposed to be sluts. They're supposed to sleep with everybody. That's what makes it fun, right? I don't know. We'll see. So we're going to talk about this, though. We're going to get into this for General Hospital. Hi, Isha. We're just kind of spreading the link around and seeing everything there is to see, and see who's going to join us to talk about the notches on the bedposts in Port Charles. So I have my trusty little list. I have a list for the men and a list for the women. I didn't go back. Hey, Susan. I didn't go way back in history. I just basically stuck to current characters, like contract characters, who are around. And I started the years not from the time they came on necessarily, because like Michael hasn't been having sex since, he was born in 1997. So I started for, those who were on as kids, I started their year count from the time they started banging online or on screen. On screen. So just so you know. Also, for characters like Liz, I started it, obviously just purely consensual sex is all we're counting. Because, that's all that should be counted if we're doing body counts. You know what I mean? So, yes. And I made a list of pretty much all of the current contract characters, but some of them really should be sleeping with more people. Dante's only, in the 15 years that Dante's been on, he's only slept with like 3 people. That's weird. I mean, we know he slept with Brooklyn as a teenager, but we're only counting on screen. No judgment at all. I'm actually trying to show that this is how it's supposed to be. And those, who are called the good girls, because TV Watcher said no judgment for women. Not at all. We call, some women are the good girls, some women are the sluts, but their body counts aren't really that much different. And like Jason, on screen for 20 years, because I took out the times that they were, presumed dead and stuff like that. He only slept with 6 women. You would think for somebody with basically without mostly a conscience, he'd have, screwed a whole lot more, but no. Curtis, 3 women in 11 years. Chase, 2 in 8 years. Max, 6 in 35 years. That's not a whole lot. Valentin's 4 in 10 years. Respectable number. He could have also done more. Scotty's 13 in 31 years. Because I also, again, took off the times that they weren't actively on screen. Sonny's 32 years. 18 women. And not only that, he knocked up 7 of them with 9 or 10 kids. I used to have the count. I didn't redo it tonight. That's quite a bit. And quite a bit of, not the safest of sex. Nick, 14 women in 22 years. I really think he's like one of the, yeah. Rick, 10 women in 11 years on screen. Respectable for a soap actor or a soap character. Ned, 12 women in 33 years. Not bad either. And the women don't compare to these numbers. The men, way more. But they're never included in the conversation of who's a slut, which just makes me absolutely crazy. Because the men are much sluttier than the women. And they're supposed to be. It's a soap opera. Okay, so Lucky, in the 10 years as an adult, he was in Port Charles and having sex. It was either 5 or 6 years. I couldn't remember. Did Lucky have sex with Rebecca? If he did, that's 6. If he didn't, then he has 5. And it's 10 years on the show, in Port Charles on the show. But he had a lot of time not there, but we also don't know what he was doing. So, Michael, in 16 years, 10 women. Very respectable. And the thing with Michael is Michael's like Maxie. He kills them. Not him personally, but he has the dick of doom, like Maxie has the pussy of peril. Because quite a few of Michael's significant or bed buddies kick the bucket. Same with Maxie. I wonder if they slept together, who would survive it? Or if they would both die. I don't know. Be interesting. Well, we'll never know now that she's gone, but maybe she'll come back. I think that's why they didn't recast her, is that they're hoping to get Kirsten back at some point, but we'll see. Now, over to the women. Laura only had 4 in 28 years, which was a small number. Olivia, 5 in 18 years. Not bad. Poor Portia only had 2 in 6 years. BLQ, 4 in 10 years. Willow, 4 in 8 years. She's pretty up there too. Britt, 6 in 8 years. Felicia, 7 in 36 years. Ava, 9 in 13 years. Lucy, 17 in 30 years. Jordan had 5 in 12 years. In Anna's 22 years in Port Charles and on screen, 10. Lulu, 6 in 16 years. Alexis, 10 in 30 years. Maxie, 11 in 23 years. She's tied with Carly. Carly's been banging on screen since 1996, and she has 11. Valentin was her 11th. Maxie, banging on screen since 2003, and she has 11. In Liz's 25 years, she has 9. And Dante will be her 10th. Nina had 6 in 10 years, and I think I already said Ava, 9 in 13 years. Now, a lot of times, I'll get into this argument on Twitter. And, oh, wait, one more. Tracy, 14 in 27 years. Not too shabby. And ironically, more than a couple of those were mobsters. Just saying. She throws, I love Tracy, but, she's throwing a lot of stones. I didn't do Lucas because I think he just had Brad, Marco, and Felix, right? And he hadn't been on that long. No, I wish Carly, there are a lot of people that Carly should have slept with that she didn't. You would think. because, they tell. And it's really funny because I heard the other day somebody said Carly had every man in town. And her and Maxie are tied at 11, but only shared one. They both like Franco was the only one they both slept with. And for Maxie, that was a one-night stand. So obviously Carly doesn't get every guy, right? Now, another interesting thing is relatives. Believe it or not, Liz took gold in the Allen's sons dismount. AJ, Jason, and Drew. Carly took silver because Liz had Drew first. And Liz, the good girl, and again, not shaming anybody, it just cracks me up when I hear that Carly's a slut and Liz is, a paragon of virtue, is about to enter into her third set of relatives with Dante. Because Dante and Rick, she had Nicholas and Luke Lucky, and then Ellen's sons. And she had more Who's the Daddies than Carly, too, which was interesting. My slut has only had one actual Who's the Daddy. God, I wish she was more of a slut. So many more men she should have slept with. TV Watcher, save Tristan Roberts from Brit, please. Sorry. Bad news. He's for Brit. But the good news is that it saves Jason from her. So I'll take that personally. Sunny had, Sam and Alexis. And then Rick slept with Sam and Alexis. David Hayward was in Anna's count on the General Hospital wiki. So I did count him in. Because it was, I think it was because it was referenced on General Hospital. And Sam, I didn't write down Sam's number, but she was another one who did Dante, Sunny, and Rick. Lots of family with that one, too. And Jason and Drew, but she never had sex with AJ. I think we're very lucky that, Sunny and Liz never had sex because they're like the most fertile, I think. Everybody in town would be related if they hooked up. So my point of all of this is that it's a soap opera. These are people that are in a town that's not like a major metropolis like Los Angeles or something, although that doesn't stop Brooke Logan from sleeping with everybody on Bold and the Beautiful. There's going to be overlap with people, and they're soap opera characters. They're supposed to sleep with a lot of people. They're supposed to, bed hop and couple swap. And I got into it the other day with somebody who was saying that she had wanted them to, she thought they were setting up Michael and Willow to be like Edward and Lila. And I tried to explain, I was like, listen, Edward and Lila were only Edward and Lila because they were already senior citizens when they came on the show. They can't keep young couples together. And if they do keep a young couple together, it's because they're writing them off, which isn't great either for their fans. Sure, they get the happily ever after, but you don't get to see them anymore. But I mean, with Edward and Lila, they could keep them together because they were already senior citizens. If they're not senior citizens and they're not writing them off, they're not keeping young soap couples together. They can't. That's how it goes. Hey, Quiet Star. How are you? We're just talking about bed hopping in Port Charles. It really is. My hair is growing back really fast. I told the boys I'm going to let it grow out because this is just, Saturday was a week. And I told the boys I was going to let it grow out a little bit longer and then I might do a mohawk just to crack them up. I love it short. I really do. Goodbye Girl. Exactly. Monica and Alan. That's who I think they're setting Michael and Willow more up to be, is a Monica and Alan. They have 2 kids. I have no doubt whatsoever they are going to put Michael and Willow back together. No doubt whatsoever. And I know that she did horrendous things and this, that, and whatever, but Alan literally tried to kill Monica. It's a soap opera. They forgive each other things. And I like Naughty Willow, Evil Willow, Bad Willow. I think she's more interesting than Good Willow. I also like Dark Michael, the son of Carly, AJ. God help me. Sonny. See, I can get on board. I can deal with canon. Should be more interesting. Than he usually is. And I liked him. I only saw a clip today. I haven't watched yet today because I with the boys and I went to the pool this afternoon. But I like him mixing it up and being a little bit ruthless, especially business-wise. He absolutely should interact with Serena because I think that might be his next pairing. Because she's going to come back and help Lucy with it all. So with deception. So it's going to be interesting, but I don't. The wardrobe department needs to give Michael more than one shirt. Well, yeah, they would, but they had to, stop giving Jason just black t-shirts apparently. So now they gotta up the shirt budget since they've gotta buy shirts for Jason now too, other than black t-shirts. But yeah, so Brooklyn and Chase are going to have to get blown apart. And I think that, they'll probably have him dabble with Willow for a little bit unless they kill him off. But I don't think so. I don't think they'll kill him off. People like Brooklyn and Chase and Michael and Willow, those are the couples where you're always going to root for them to get back together. But they're going to have to split them up because it's just how it goes. Until they're ready to, retire them romantically. That's just how it goes. And I mean, Monica and Alan were cheating on each other well into their middle ages and past. And that's soap operas. And that's why we love them. We're not watching a Hallmark movie. And we all want our couples together, of course, but they're not staying together because happy is boring for couples. So, did anybody who come in miss our list of who has how many bed notches on their bedpost? Because I noticed more of you guys came in. I can go back over the list if you want to. I made a list of the men, a list of the women, the years they were banging on screen, and how many partners they had. And the men really blew the women out of the water. But it's always the women who get bashed. So. Oh, yes, please. Okay, Julie, just for you. All right, we're going to go back to the men. So let me do it by years. Mac in 35 years, 6. Not a whole lot. Mac should have really gone deeper. No pun intended. Pun intended, maybe? All right. Sonny. Ned, 33 years, 12. Sonny, 32 years, 18. Scotty, 31 years, 13. And just so you guys know, I subtracted times they were off screen for extended amounts of times, like when Kin left the show a few times, yada yada. Who is next? Nick, in 22 years, had 14. Jason, in 20 years, only had 6. But, I mean, we used to call him a sex camel. I mean, we still do. He's a sex camel. He can have sex and it'll last him a while. Then Michael in 16 years, 10. Dante in 15 years, only 3. He should really be up there more. Curtis in 11 years, only 3. Rick in 11 years, 10. Now that's a soap guy. Good for Rick, right? Drew, 6 in 10 years. Chase, 2 in 8 years. Valentin, 4 in 10 years. So there are a lot of men with a whole lot of notches on their bedpost. And I'm going to take a quick break here to do our sponsor video because it's perfect for this one. Coaching by Lori, since we're talking about sex.
Are you having problems in the bedroom? Are you having problems with your sex life? Well, I know just who to talk to, and that's Lori. CoachingByLori.com is where you could set up voice, video, or text sessions to talk about sex, to talk about intimacy, kinks, fetishes, taboos, fantasies, or your sexuality. You could talk about coming out and what to expect when you come out. Lori is a sex therapist and talks about your sexual health. Lori's offering all new clients 20% off their first session with the coupon code WELCOME. That's Coaching by Lori, LORIE.com. Coupon code WELCOME, WELCOME, for 20% off your first session.
Okay, thanks for bearing with me there, guys. And now we go to our ladies. Let's face it, they're the most interesting thing on soaps, especially on General Hospital, I think. They definitely... the 10 for Rick, I'll go back to that. All right, so with the women, 36 years, Felicia has slept with 7 men. In 30 years, Alexis has slept with 10. In 30 years, Lucy has slept with 17. In 30 years, Carly has slept with 11. In 28 years, Laura slept with 4. In 27 years, Tracy, 14. In 25 years, Liz slept with 9. And just to be clear, I reiterated this at the beginning, but I'm only counting consensual relationships. And those 25 years for Liz, she's been on longer than 25 years, but she didn't start having consensual sex until 25 years ago. So that's why. So 25 years for Liz, 9 guys. Maxie, 23 years, 11 guys. She's tied with Carly and Alexis for years, and Lucy for years. And she's tied with Carly for number of bed mates. Anna, in 22 years, had 10. I didn't put these in order, of course, because why would I put them in order? Why would I make it easy on myself? Olivia, in 18 years, had 5. Lulu, in 16 years, had 6. Ava, in 13 years, had 9. Jordan, in 12 years, had 5. Nina, in 10 years, had 6. BLQ, in 10 years, had 4. Willow, in 8 years, had 4. Britt, in 8 years, had 6. And Portia, in 6 years, only had 2. So some of those ladies need to, get some more. And I agree, they should just have Laura and Sunny. They should just do it. Just pair them. So give me a second and I will tell you who the 10 for Rick are. I went by the General Hospital wiki for the ones that I wasn't 100% sure on and just to double check. So Rick, that'd be great. Rick Lansing, General Hospital. Mm-hmm. Okay. Love him. So he's one of those guys that's really just getting better looking with age, I think. Okay, so Faith, Liz, Alexis, Reese, Sam, Mariana, Claire, Claudia, Madeline, Ava. Now, he was married to Nina, but did not have sex with her. He was having an affair with her mother. So, it's really funny too. Unnamed women, lovers, pre-2002. I didn't count those because he was not, but it just is funny. Yes, we know he didn't come on the show a virgin. Thank you, General Hospital Wiki. But yeah, so Faith, Liz, Alexis, Reese, Sam, Mariana, Claire, Claudia, Madeline, and Ava. And that's 10. So, anybody else have any questions about whose numbers were what? Or who should screw that didn't? I mean, Carly and Sean definitely should have. I was on the fence about Carly and Xander, but I loved Xander and I loved him and Carly's friendship. Let's see, who else? I really wanted Emily and Lucky, but I never got them. My Luckily. So what do you guys think? Who should have had sex that didn't? Who had sex that shouldn't have? Sonny and Carly. Although, can you imagine how different the show would be if they had never hooked up, Sonny and Carly? Yeah, I've seen that from a lot. So Quiet Star says Carly and Patrick. I've seen that from a lot of Carly fans. I didn't really care that much about Patrick, so I didn't care that they hadn't screwed. Oh, you know who I really wanted her to screw back in the day too? Coleman. Coleman was a hottie. I wanted her to screw Coleman. Sonny and Sasha. Feel so bad for Sasha. God, I would really feel bad for Sasha in that scenario. Oh my God, yeah. Going back to, I mean, Patrick's fine. I liked him as a character, and as much as I hated Robin and continue to hate Robin, Scrubs were a really cute couple and really, good together. I just didn't want the Robin and Carly shit. More Robin and Carly shit. I was so sick of it. I still am. And going back to the Laura and Sonny thing, I've seen a lot of discourse on the. It's my sister trying to call me. I've seen a lot of discourse about how she's too old for him, but she's really not. Her and Sonny are roughly the same age. Luke was a lot older than her. And I think people forget that Luke was so much older than her. Her and Sonny are right around the same age. Julie, I agree with you. Julie says, I really don't want to see Sonny with anyone that could be his daughter anymore. I agree. And honestly, I'm really intrigued by Ava and Ethan, but I'm really sick of seeing much older men with these younger women. It's just, it doesn't work for me anymore. It was one of my biggest issues with the Joss and Cassius thing. As I'm like, the man has gray in his hair. She's in her mid-20s. No, I don't want this. Yes, Patrick was for Robin. He was brought on specifically for her. And honestly, that was one of the few times that worked. Because usually when they bring someone on and they have the romance planned, it doesn't work out that well. Luke and Laura weren't a planned romance. He was just supposed to be for a little while. But I remember when Sam came on and they had this whole thing about her and Jax. They did a huge advertising campaign. and everything. And it just freaking fell incredibly flat. It really did. And I was not a huge, but I was a Sonny and Sam fan. But I admit part of that was because it was an ABC, Anyone But Carly. I will yeet pretty much any woman at that man to keep him away from Carly. Yeah, I mean, I won't even say that I actually liked her with Patrick. But I thought they were a cute couple. I never liked Robin. I can't like Robin. She's just too, her. But I didn't like Robin as a small child. So I want to get you started on Sam and Jax. Start, girl. I like to get you guys started. I like to get people riled up. Yeah, the Sam and Jax thing was but I mean, the show was forced to take her. They didn't want her, but Franz forced her to take her, and they were like, all right, well, Jax needs somebody, I guess. So let me get my coffee. Yeah, it's 10:30. Nice coffee. Mm-hmm. I got a lot to do tonight before field trip Friday tomorrow with the kids. We're going to the MIT Science Museum, or the Science Museum at MIT, whatever it is. But yeah, the Sam and Jax thing just really, I mean, that whole dead man's hand, that was like such a horrendously bad story. It really, really was. But they were forced to take her. They had to come up with something, and that was what they did. And then they threw her at Sonny. And part of that, I think, Mo wanted out of Carson. And I think he wanted the hot new thing. And Carly and Lorenzo had already been getting a lot of, before they were even together, were getting a lot of buzz because the chemistry and stuff like that. So he wanted a couple that would compete with them. And it didn't work out well. And sadly, my Carly and Lorenzo, I loved Carly and Lorenzo, loved them. And I hate the fact that man was allowed to demand her back. It will never not piss me off. Never, ever, 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 ever not piss me off. Especially after the crap he did. I liked Sam and Lucky. They were, Kelly Monaco and Greg Vaughn were incredibly hot together. The hot tub scene, absolutely hot. Yeah, I wish Sam and Sonny had worked too. I wish Sonny and a lot of people had worked. I was really rooting for him to. How dare you? How dare you? Quiet Star never liked Lorenzo. How dare you? Ted King? Oh, God. I would kill to have him back. Ted King coming back as Lorenzo. Hell, they could bring him back as another character. That's fine. Although, no, not right now, because if they had him back, I'd want him for Carly, but I love Carly and Valentin. And I am like squarely in their corner. I don't even want them to, if for some reason, Frank Valentini were to call me tomorrow, or Elizabeth Corte, which is not going to happen. Neither of them. I don't think either of them know I exist. Pretty sure they don't. If either of them were to call me tomorrow and say, should we keep Carly with Valentin or go ahead and pull the trigger on Charlie? For the first time ever, my answer would be keep Carly with Valentin at least for a little while longer. Because I love them. That's how much I love them. It's insane. And anybody who knows me outside of, the podcast, anybody who is, associated with me on the Twitter streets or on Soap Zone or anything like that, I am an OG Charlie fan. From the very first day they laid eyes on each other at Jake's, very first night. Aisha thinks that Patrick is one that Carly should have had, and remembers Jason walking in on them. Yeah, Jason was real mad. And Carly was just like, busy here. He's like, no, we gotta go. We got a thing. We gotta go. Yeah. That man is a cock blocker from hell. He didn't like the her and Sean either. There's a lot. It's so funny because Carly gets a bad rap about coming in between Jason and his women, but he's worse than she is, I think. You know, he's flat out demanded she end things. And yes, Carly and Valentin, they're absolute perfection. They truly are. And I just need this to keep going. That's going to be a whole other independent podcast that I do, just talking about the many loves of Carly, Carolyn, Lee, Benson, Quartermaine, Corinthos, Alcazar, Jax, Morgan, Spencer, hopefully soon to be Cassadine. I want her to be a Cassadine. I really do. Just to get one last little poke in at Uncle Luke. So who are you guys enjoying? Oh, Quiet Star, you're so right. I've been thinking a lot. So Quiet Star said, when I watch their scenes, those scenes could easily work for Jason and Carly. Absolutely. And I was thinking about that the other day, and it is definitely like, I'm like, they are like the way Valentin is with her is the way Jason is with her, just less reserved with it. And he opens his mouth. You know what I mean? Because Jason is... Look at how he reacted when she said, this time it's not Jason and Carly against the world. You know what I mean? And he's very, tender with her with the touches and the hairbrushes and the hugs and and he's not like demonstrative, like the kissing stuff, but because they're not, together romantically. But I mean, you looked at their wedding, after their wedding, when they were like still in the church and stuff, like that man couldn't keep his hands or lips off of her. And it's like, we all know that Corte was an OG Jarly. She was the OG Jarly. She's the one who first suggested hooking them up for their no-name sex at Jake's. It's like she's going, okay, if I can't do Jarly right now because that man still isn't retired, let's go ahead and do this with this guy. And like, just, it's wonderful. And it's so funny because there's so many Jarlies are like, this is what we should have been getting from Jason. Like him vocalizing things like the jealousy and stuff like that, which we saw Jason, emotionally express, but won't put anything into words. And it makes me crazy. And Quiet Star, I am so right there. Hurts my heart as a shipper, but makes me squee as a CFF. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, I understand why we didn't. Well, I didn't count. Okay, so Millet said Jason had 7 partners. Keisha. I didn't count Keisha because that was Jason Quartermaine. And he doesn't remember it. So, I mean, yes, Jason physically, Jason Quartermaine / Morgan has had 7 partners, but then you also have to go back a year, add another year or two to his thing. I didn't count Keisha because it was Quartermaine. And he has no memory of that. So that's why I just went forward to whatchamacallit, from Carly on. Someone the other day was arguing with me that Robin had sex with Jason before Carly did. And I was just like, people, Google is free. Like, seriously, Google is free. Shauna, their wedding and after was so sweet. And before, like the stuff at the old Jake site that morning, the morning of their wedding was, yeah. And at this point, I am still a Jarly end gamer. I love Carly and Valentin, but I don't see them end gaming them, you know. But we're not at end game yet because, again, you know, I mean, they're approaching the age where they can just keep them together forever, but they're not quite there with them yet because they haven't. GH has been really bad about passing the torch to the younger set, but I'm hoping they seem to be moving towards it more, please, because they need to. You know, they can't have the, senior citizens being the leads forever. That's not supposed to be what happens with soaps. They should be able to move them a little bit towards the back and bring the next group up. But I still see Jason and Carly as endgame. I still think that, if Sunny leaves the show alive, it will be with Brenda to go have their happily ever after. Michael and Willow, Lulu and Dante, probably Brooklyn and Chase. Well, I mean, Chrysler says, I think Carly and Val can last as long as GH wants them to, or as long as JPS stays around. You know what's really funny is JPS gets a really bad rap about that. Most of the time, he has been there full time. Most of the 10 years he's been there, he has been there full time. Even when, like, the first season of his show, he pulled double duty. He went in early to 6 a.m. and shot GH and then shot his other show. He never left GH during that time. And then he had planned to take the 6 months off for season 2, and then it was canceled. And the show was canceled. They never got their other season. So he told Frank, I'm available. And Frank actually brought him back a little early. And then it wasn't him wanting to leave when they wrote him off. It was just the show writing him off and to, send him, put him on the run and stuff like that, just because they had already planned story around him not being there. And so they can't just scrap all of that story. And then he actually, had asked Frank if Frank wanted him to clean out his dressing room, because he still had a dressing room at GH when Finola was, on her break. And Frank said, no, I have something else for you. But, JPS will work as much as they'll give him. He doesn't want to be on contract because he wants to be able to do other things as well. But he will bend over backwards to be committed to GH as long as, he can do the other things as well. I mean, he filmed a movie recently while on GH. And we never really noticed that he wasn't around. So, but yeah, they can keep them together. I don't know. I mean, I could see a good long run for Carly and Valentin. I really can, because they are so popular and they're organically popular. It's not agenda. It's not... it was an experiment. It wasn't we're going to put these two together and make everybody like it. It was an experiment. It was, let's see what happens. And they really took their time, building them. And they are very happy with the results. So I don't think they're going to end them anytime soon. They're going to give them angst, but I don't see them ending them anytime soon. Quiet Star, I want Michael as a lead as well. And I also love Rory, and I think that he can carry it. I'm looking forward to seeing if they're gonna, give him more with this upcoming like deception stuff and Serena and all of that. So we'll see. But absolutely, those in like Michael's age group should be leading. They really should. Aisha, yes, I remember the fantasy episode where Patrick and Lucky and where they were playing pool. That fantasy, everybody was in love with Carly. Yeah. The Lucky one was weird because that's her cousin. But at the same time, why did Laura Wright and Greg Vaughn have such good chemistry? I mean, that was just a little strange. So, yeah. Shauna says, I think JPS brings a cool I don't give a fuck that Carly and Laura need. I agree. And he's also, like, he's not intimidated by Sonny. He's not intimidated by Jason. He can hold his own, tough guy and, step in, he's not afraid of them, which I like. And her partner needs that. And then Steve and Laura have both dealt with so much online BS. I agree completely. And Val and JPS just do have that super confident chill vibe. Another thing too is like with Steve and Laura, like a big part of the appeal of them is that they are very, very comfortable with each other because they've been friends for so long, predating them, her being on GH by a long time, and they go back before Sonny was on the show. They go back to when he was Jason Quartermaine, as far as in real life friends, because ABC used to have their stars from different shows do events together. And that was the same time she became friends with James Patrick Stewart because he was on All My Children. So I think that that's one of the great things that's one of the things that plays so well with Carly and Valentin is that Laura and JPS are so comfortable with each other because they have been friends for so long, predating GH, not like besties off screen, but they've known each other, they've interacted, and they both said that they've wanted to work together more on GH since he came on. They just haven't had tons of opportunity, and now they do. But I think that comfortableness with each other really, really, really elevates their pairing. GH does love their cousins. And Greg and Laura did have too much chemistry, which is probably why they didn't interact a whole lot because, I mean, it was almost like Alexis and Stefan, Nancy Legrand with Stephen Nichols. I'm like, I know his name. Kept wanting to say Steve something, but I'm like, no, he plays Steve Johnson. His name is Stephen Nichols. Nancy Legrand and Stephen Nichols had inappropriate sibling chemistry, I thought, personally. Shauna said Greg did have chemistry with everybody, Tinklu. And Shauna said you can tell they enjoy acting and are loose with it. Absolutely. And I think that they have similar styles and a similar work ethic, which really helps. And that last love scene that they had before he went and turned himself into Z, they forewent having an intimacy coordinator. And they choreographed it with Frank because Frank directed that episode. So they coordinated their own love scene. They choreographed their own love scene, which is why they had to blur out JPS's ass because the intimacy coordinator would usually be the one to say, oh, his butt is showing. But there was no intimacy coordinator, so that's why they ended up having to blur his ass. But that is foregoing the intimacy coordinator is a big indicator about how comfortable they are with each other. Because that is a really big amount of trust. because the whole point of the intimacy coordinator is the intimacy coordinator says, okay, this person's hand is going here. You're going to kiss this part here. This piece of clothing is going to be slit. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, very clinical. And it's not like it's less clinical if they choreograph it, but it's more interactive and it's a little bit more natural, I think. I really loved that that happened too. I thought it was awesome. And the episodes that Frank directs, I tend to enjoy. And that one was just phenomenal. Oh yeah, there are a lot of people rooting after the other day for Dante and Lulu to get back together. I don't see tons of chemistry between them, but they're not supposed to be playing it right now. You know, I mean, I think Dante and Lulu will get back together. It's just not anytime soon. They're not, I don't think it's imminent. You know, they're going to put her with someone else. I think I wouldn't care. I wouldn't mind if they, you know, took a little spin with her and Jason. I mean, neither actor wants to do love scenes, so what the hell, you know what I mean? And they're doing Dante and Liz for a bit, you know. But I do eventually think that, I mean, Lulu and Dante are an endgame couple, I think. They've always, you know, struck me as was an endgame couple. But I don't think that it's anywhere intimate. I mean, we know that they're putting him with Liz for a little bit anyway. So, and this will be his second round of hooking up with somebody a relative is hooked up with. I wonder, you know, are they going to break up her and Rick first, or is it going to be a triangle with his uncle? I don't know. Hold on one second. My sister just got home. There is a stack of envelopes on this table over here that need to go to Julie. It's her mail. If you'll grab them. I can't reach them, but go ahead. You can reach behind. Just don't burn yourself on the candles. Sorry. Okay, so Tinklu agrees the Lulu and Jason would be pretty cool. And I think it would be too. I think that, they both hate the Valentin and Carly pairing. And Shauna said that she thought Serena and Jason are on tap. No, I think that they're going to go with Michael and Serena. I think that Serena's for Michael. I had wondered if Serena was going to be for Jason, but I think that she's for Michael. Quiet Star would gag if I had to watch Jason making moon eyes at Lulu. Yeah, see, I don't even know that it would get that deep. You know what I mean? I don't know that they'd have them like fall in love. Oh, Annie, you got it, baby. Annie, my wifey, Caradine baby. Absolutely. They are the best thing going on General Hospital right now, and I will fight anybody. Oh, well, I hope you feel better. You'd quit the show if you had to watch Serena and Jason? Seriously? My thing was that if they were going to do Serena and Jason, then we need Scotty. But I mean, honestly, Serena and Michael will probably also give Scotty conniption fits because of the Sunny. You just watch Carly clips on YouTube? Yeah, see, I can't just watch clips because of the podcast. And I wouldn't anyway. I enjoy most of the show. You know, they're testing me with this freaking Curtis and Jordan shit, but I tend to enjoy the vast amount of the show. I want that baby to be Isaiah's, though. And that is a damn cute baby. Damn cute baby. Yeah, I'm excited to see the Serena and Michael dynamic, too. I think it'll be interesting. Hopefully, the Dick of Doom doesn't kill her, because he tends to. Now, I think they're going to do Jacinda dirty and have her try to do something to Willow. Or, something with Willow. And then it's, she's going to be off. Now, I've also heard people rooting for Laura and Ezra. I kind of see it, but I still think that they should just pull, break the glass for her and, with her and Sonny and just do that. But who do I think Drew will be paired with once he's up again? I don't know. I mean, I had thought that Britt could be good for him, but she has the new guy. I'm trying to think. Nina's with Jack. Ava's going to be with Ethan, but, who knows how long that will last. Honestly, they could do Lulu and Drew as well if they're not going to do Lulu and Jason. It also wouldn't surprise me if they keep Jason single for a while. Everybody knows that if Steve Burton had his choice, the only one, Jason would never be with anybody. Jason would just be single with his gun. But Steve Burton can't have his long-term choice about that because he's a leading man on a soap opera. And, I've told you guys before that he wanted Jason and Carly and he requested it. And he ended up not getting it, but it was for other behind-the-scenes reasons. And it wasn't about him liking the Jason and Carly pairing. And I've said this before. It wasn't about him liking the Jason and Carly pairing or anything like that. It's that it's an easy one for him. It's him and Laura are very friendly. Laura and his wife are very friendly. So he doesn't have to worry about the conflict there. Laura is very, very happy with her boy toy. And I say that with all the love. So it would be, easy, and he has said that he would rather get punched in the face than go back to, like he had said about like either Jason or like either Liz or Sam, because the fan base stuff with them are just insane. Even with Sam gone, he doesn't want any part of that. And it's not about preferring one woman over the other. It's what he feels will make his life the easiest. That's it. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you just stand Jason and Carly. And it's not that. I do stand them, but it's not that. He wanted them not because of any, love for Jason and Carly, but because it would be the easiest pairing for him. Offset. And oh my God, Annie, Laura has been just absolutely, she's always gorgeous, but she has been beyond stunning lately. She really has. Our girl is, yeah. Let me scroll up because I missed. Now, I don't know that the producer is for Trina. I think that the producer might be the stalker and Quinn might be a red herring. And I know a lot of people think that it's Spencer, but I don't think that it's Spencer at all in any way, shape, or form. I don't think that's a thing. I think Drew and Liz could work too as well. I also think Drew and Anna could work. They've both been through a lot, and, she has her spy past. He has his Navy SEAL past. They absolutely could. Drew and Liz could work as well, but we know that they're doing Liz and Dante for a while. But they don't have anybody for Anna. They should have put Anna with Jack, I think. But they don't ask me. As I said, they don't call me and ask. So, Annie, you're right. She is glowing with JPS. She is so happy with her story and in her real life, and she is just living her best life, and the haters can suck it. And Hold on, let me just scroll up a little bit. Give me a second. I'm trying to figure out the scrolling. Shauna says she likes Jason single and devoted to Carly. I agree. You know, let him be single. Let him be putting his kid first. Let him be devoted to Carly and her children as well, because that's his thing. And if Steve's not going to play it, and we know he's not going to play it because of what he just did with the Brit stuff, and make no mistake, that was 100% Steve Burton. 100%. He refused to do that love scene day of, which is why it was so weird. And they had Jason across the room and all of that. So, you know, he's not going to play it because he can be a petty bitch. And that's why we, you know, Burtoning out is a term that so many of us have used. Yeah, honestly, I think the stalking stuff with Trina is because it's going to be what puts her and Gio closer. He's going to be defensive of her and protective of her, and they're going to end up, something's going to happen. It's Trina having a stalker comes out of the blue, but I think stalkers do come out of the blue. It's weird that she would have one now because nobody would know who she is. It would have made sense, you know, after she was already, you know, a singer, you know, a recording artist or whatever. Tinklu said, there's still a businessman to come, isn't there? Yes. There is a shady businessman coming in. I'm pretty sure he's contract. He is contract. So I don't think he's that short term. I think that he's going to be BLQ's next pairing, and I think he's Phoebe's father. So, because they have to break up BLQ and Chase. They can't keep them together. And she's going to want to keep that baby. Ethan is not that baby's father. I think that the new shady businessman that's coming in is. And I think that's Phoebe's dad. I think Drew and Britt could be really great. You know, they could both complain about their hatred of the Jason and Carly bond. You know, Nina uses it. Nina uses Carly as a fluffer. So, whatever. Quiet Star, question. Why doesn't GH allow any of the characters to go on dates before pairing characters up? Well, I mean, occasionally they do, but usually that's just not how soap opera couples start. They usually, you know, have like, Brooklyn bashing Chase over the head with the beer bottle. You know, soap couples don't start in the traditional way, generally. Go on dates, meet, ask somebody out, yada, you know, they start that, you know, the enemies to lovers or the, you know, something like that. You know, and Carly and Valentin weren't really enemies to lovers, but they were, you know, partners in crime, kind of pushed together so, yeah. The verticals really interest me, Daisy Flower. We're actually looking into possibly doing one, like making one. She said she's seen the record producer on a vertical, and it was really good. Yeah, so I'm intrigued. I think that Quinn is going to be a red herring, and it's going to be the producer that's the stalker, which is why he wanted to sign them individually. So, yeah, Annie, that love scene was so awkward, and everybody was like, did they even have sex? And it was really funny because they didn't even kiss in that entire episode. They kissed the next episode, but they didn't kiss that entire episode, either before or after. It was very, very strange. And Quiet Star, you're right. Trina has performed publicly, but she performed at the Nurses' Ball, which was a local thing, and she performed at open mic night at Charlie's. You know what I mean? So if it ends up being Quinn that's her stalker, that would make sense. If it ends up being the record producer that's her stalker, that's no. Yeah, our Chase is so stupid. I don't know why he doesn't drown, how he doesn't drown in the shower. Like, seriously. He's so dumb. It's like painful dumb. Yeah. Shauna, yes. Britt and Drew could be tall together. And honestly, I feel bad for Kelly Tebow because she really seems to like slouch over, and that has to hurt her back. You know what I mean? That really has to hurt her back. She wants to just stand up and be tall. You know, it's not like she's an Amazon woman, but yeah. Yeah. They did. I don't understand why Michael disappeared. I really truly don't. I don't know if there was something going on behind the scenes that we just haven't heard. I mean, I know he got married, but that was during the July break, and it wouldn't take that. He's been engaged for a couple of years. He wouldn't need a time off work to plan that wedding. Nina and Jack are pathetic. But whatever. And again, it goes back to the, everybody swaps partners and shares partners. But the thing that, some Carly fans were pointing out, and I guess I don't care, because once Carly's done with them, I don't care who, but Nina was with multiple men directly after they were with Carly. Franco, Sonny, Drew, Jack, and Carly's been with Valentin, who was with Nina, but Valentin's been with some, people in between. Like, when Nina gets with these men, they still have Carly stank on them. You know what I mean? So the taste of her in their mouths and whatever. But whatever. That's why I say that Carly is Nina's fluffer, and whatever. I guess, crazy women need love too, right? And Tiglu says she's a little bummed that Spinelli was written out. And yeah, I do too. But I mean, he was written out, but they could have him make appearances. They didn't kill them off. They went to Australia. He could show up. It won't be, every day, but I could see him showing up to do this, that, or the other, occasionally. Yeah, Daisy Flower said Michael doesn't seem to know or care what happened to his mom or sister. Yeah, that's been really, really weird. I'm hoping that when we finally see something that they have some sort of explanation. I mean, I was talking to somebody today, and I totally understand why Carly did not loop Michael in on what was going on with Joss and Valentin beforehand. He's in a fight with Willow. She was not going to make him an accomplice to keeping Val, the fugitive, safe or whatever. And she wouldn't want Michael trying to save Joss and getting hurt. She wouldn't want to put another one of her kids in danger with the WSB. But now that it's out, it seems weird. Unless, we see a scene with Michael and somebody and he says something about how he, him and Joss have a scene and she talks about the beautiful flowers he brought her when she was in the hospital, or, whatever. I don't know. It's weird because it's public knowledge now that she's a WSB agent. Even Trina was like, why is everybody calling you Agent Jack? So I don't know. I mean, eventually they're going to have to tell us something. Something's going to have to happen eventually on screen with Michael and either his mother or his sister. But we'll see. Maybe there'll be a scene with Michael and Jason, and he'll be filling Jason in, and we'll find out that he's known and was whatever. Annie wants to know if I think Carly and Valentin are love, and when I think the I love yous are going to happen. I absolutely think they're in love. I 100% think they're in love. As far as when the I love yous are going to happen, I don't know. I mean, they could do a real sweet thing and, have it be something like that. Or it could be, one of them are in danger or something happens. like that. So we'll see. But I absolutely think they're in love. 100%. Daisy asked if Bradford has been let go. Bradford wasn't on contract. He was only recurring, so he worked when they called him to. So, they wrote Maxie and the family off to Australia, but that doesn't mean that they can't call Bradford for some reason that Spinelli is going to be in Port Charles to help Jason with something or something else. You know what I mean? He hasn't really been let go because he wasn't on contract. So he's recurring. It'll just be that they don't call him for longer. Shauna says she doesn't think Phoebe's father is the new businessman because the DNA was taken from the PC police. True, but it was a cold case. It was taken from a cold case that was old. The cold case storage that was old. We don't know how old. And, we're supposed to believe that other people live in this town. That, we don't always see. We know there has to be other nurses. There have to be other doctors. So we don't know that this businessman, because he's shady, we don't know. We know that it's not Ethan. I don't know who in town that we know of it could be that Ethan would have to protect the baby from, because I know some people had originally thought Sidwell, but Sidwell wouldn't be in a cold case. I don't know. Tinklu, please give me Rick and Alexis. Yes, me too. I want them. They're magic. There have been so many times where, since he's been back, where they've been doing their little Bickerson thing that I've just wanted them to grab each other and start throwing clothes off, because they're just so great together. They have great chemistry. Shauna says maybe they were going to explore Michael, Jacinda, and Christina, and when they left, they needed to reset. I don't know. I mean, they kind of dabbled with, they kind of dropped a few things about that, but they knew Christina was leaving months before she did, because Kate told them like months ago that she wasn't renewing her contract. I think I had heard about it in I had to have told you guys about it in February, March, in the Zooms, maybe even before then, that Kate was going to be leaving, and that I had heard that. So that means that she had already told them. Goodbye, girl. Yes, we are live tonight. I think there's a little bit of a delay, like a 30-second delay or something, but yes, we are live. So I knew that they knew that she wasn't staying months before she actually left. She told them months before her contract was up that she wasn't renewing. So Drew and Nina did sleep together a few seconds after him and Carly broke up. You are very correct, Daisy. Yeah, both of them. And I think Drew was looking to, because he thought, he figured that would be the thing that would upset, Carly the most. And, Nina. Yeah. Quiet Star, Nina's obsessed with Carly. I think that's why she keeps going after Carly's. But I know, right? Single white female. She's going to start having Carly's hairdo. And yeah. She is a little. Yeah. Yep. Jason is back tomorrow. We see him with Drew in the preview. And we know that he sees Britt at General Hospital. At some point as well. Now, in the promo with him seeing Britt, he looks surprised, and we know that Britt is on nights. So I'm wondering if he was actually going to the hospital to see her or not. I don't know. We'll see. I don't care because they're ending them. So, which is fine. you know. Shauna, I could see Tracy wanting to kick Josh off crew property because they don't want a WSB agent there. Possibly. But I could also see her thinking one would come in handy. Tracy could really go either way. I saw it was funny because one of the rando soap magazines that just, are clickbait said, now that the truth is out, should Jocelyn move out of Trina's apartment? I really just wish these people would watch the show. If you want to make up your shit, that's fine. Make up your shit. But can you watch the show? If it's anybody's apartment, it's Jocelyn's. It's on her brother's, you know what I mean? It's her brother's family estate. But anyway. Julie says, I feel like it'll be something dramatic, especially because they've thrown all the angst at them. I'm assuming she's talking about Carly and Valentin's I love yous. I could see that too. Like one of them getting hurt or something. No, Nina could never have Carly's hair. No one can have that. Laura Wright has the best hair in daytime, and I will fight anybody who says differently. She does. She absolutely has the best hair in daytime and has for a very long time. It should be its own character. It should get its own credits. It's so good. Do I think we get a run and jump with Carly and Jason? Quiet Star asks. I don't think so. I think we'll get a big hug. I think they'll have, an emotional reunion. But it won't be like her and Valentin did. I think it'll be more subdued than that. Especially because she knows he's back in town now. With Valentin, it was a total surprise. But I think it'll be more subdued. Yes, Julie. She was talking about Caradine. Yeah. I'm excited for Charlie scenes too. I'm sure we'll probably get them next week. I know a lot of people were keying about, oh, Jason ditched Carly, but one, he ditched everybody. He told Tracy to tell everybody he was back in town, that he was back. And Tracy knows that he meant Carly on that list, but it seems like she didn't tell anybody because Britt didn't know either. So, did she tell Michael even? We don't know if she told anybody. She does know that he's been through a lot. And she immediately clocked the bruises. And I think that she'll pick up on that there's something going on with him because that's what she does. And Shauna, I agree. I really want the Joss and Jason scenes as well. I hope he knows that she's why he's out. So I want Valentin to find that out too. Or if he does know, I want him to talk to Jocelyn about it. I just realized I didn't see the scenes with Joss and Valentin. That was a day I hadn't watched that I have to go back and watch. Did she tell him, or does he know? Anybody who saw the scenes of Valentin going to see Joss in the hospital? Because I know he went and he gave her flowers. I think they were stolen, that he took from somebody else or something like that. But I just realized that I have to watch those scenes. I can't believe I did. It's summertime, and the kids I nanny, we have field trips and swim lessons. And I know he talked to her in the hospital. I just don't know. I realized I hadn't seen those scenes. Oh, he was trying to get it out of her. So he knows then. She might have not have confirmed it, but he knew if he was trying to get it out of her that she had done it. Yeah. Okay. No, that works. And I want Carly to find out too that, she did that. So, well, that's our guy. He knows. He's people who knows things, like Carly. They know things. So Shauna said, Steve said he had good scenes with Joss coming up. I think he's going to step away from Carly and Joss because of the danger to some degree, but the bond will remain. I don't think he is. I think he's going to step away from the mob. Oh, JPS. Yes, I heard about that. I don't think he's going to step away from Carly and Joss. I think he's going to step away from the mob. Because, like, think about who. Yeah, I saw. She didn't mean Josh. She meant JPS. So in Jason's summer preview, it said that he was making changes and it was going to affect people. Carly wasn't on that list. And if it was going to affect their bond, Carly would have been on that list. I think he's going to leave the mob. And I think that's what's going to be, the thing that's going to affect Sonny, obviously. And, Danny, the stuff he's affecting Danny is that he's going to be more hands-on with him and, prioritize him. I am thinking that they might use the Cassius stuff to end him and Britt. I mean, it's definitely enough to. I think that it's, he wanted her to tell him everything, and she lied about Cassius for no reason whatsoever. She didn't tell him about Cassius, and there was literally no reason for her to keep that secret. And then she ratted out Joss to Cassius. Neither of the things he would be okay with. So I think those might be why they break them up. And I also saw, yes, it also said that his stuff was going to affect Anna as well. I think that him and Anna, because they're both so fucked up right now, could possibly help each other. You know what I mean? And he wants to help her get to the bottom of things because that, that ended him up where he was too. Because everything Cullum had going on is why he ended up in Jakarta. So I think him and Anna are both fucked up, and they're both going to work together in their fucked up way and maybe need to be saved by Carly and Valentin. Anna is messed up but still smart, and so Jason will be too. He won't be imagining Peter. There'll be that. Jason won't be envisioning Peter. And I'm sorry, I don't even care. Peter is the perfect person for this. Well, yeah, her clocking Rocco as the shooter. I mean, yeah, of course she did. Dante told her the evidence, who else would Dante have destroyed the evidence for? It would have, it also obviously would be Rocco. Yeah, Peter is the smart one here. Yeah, right. Yeah. I think Peter is the perfect devil on her crazy shoulder. I really do. I don't think, I saw somebody say that it should have been Cesar Faison, but she wouldn't listen to Faison. Peter, she still has guilt over how Peter ended up because he was her nephew. So, but Faison should just be like, yeah, get away from me, you crazy ghost. She wouldn't listen to anything Faison said. I think that Peter is perfect. And I know a lot of people wanted it to be Alex too, but Anna is great. Finola is great in both roles, but I would not want to watch as many scenes of Peter that we've had be Finola talking to herself as two different characters, especially because we know there's going to be more. That works for, a couple scenes here and there, but not an ongoing bit. That wouldn't work for me. Oh, Rocco's been working my nerves for a while. I wanted Danny to smack the taste out of his mouth when he talked about Jason abandoning. Oh, God, I wanted Danny to smack the taste out of his mouth. Oh, God. Those people are the same ones crying, why is it always Carly? Of course. But it's not always Carly. They can say that it's always Carly as much as they want to, but she doesn't get every guy. She doesn't get everything she wants. She doesn't have everything handed to her. It's just simply not true. But here's the thing. Carly is the lead because Carly is a character that drives story. She is. And that's also why they put her into so many stories, because she drives story, she can move stories forward, even the ones she's not completely in. Oh, his attitude with Gio as well. Yeah, but here's the thing. Rocco is his father and grandfather's son. He is. The absolute turd of a human being did not fall far from the turd tree. Dante is a hypocrite. The Marty Seabrook. Carly, oh, it's Kaiwan. Did you delete that damn picture you made of Laura Wright? Because if you didn't, you need to go do that right now. Seriously. And they're not bringing back Jason's memories from being Jason Quartermaine, nor do they, should they. But Carly is, and I know that this is going to piss a lot of people off, but Carly is the Reva Shane. Carly is the Erica. Carly is that bitch. She just is. This is Carly's world. And she's the lead. And I will also fight anybody who tells me she's not the matriarch of the Spencer family, because she is. Laura is not the matriarch of the Spencer family. Laura is the matriarch of her family with her children, but she is not the matriarch of the Spencer family. You better do it, because that picture was not okay. Don't do that to people. That's not something to do. Okay, so Aisha wants to know, how does Jack still have his job? He did nothing to take down Cullum, even before Nina jabbed him. You're right, but I think that he still has his job because it's part of the WSB trying to cover up what happened. And we'll see how long he keeps the job. I'm not 100% sure he's going to be staying the boss of anything WSB. I wouldn't be surprised to see Val back in the WSB. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jason in the WSB at some point. And I know people are like, why would he go into the WSB after what the WSB did to him? Because it was bad people in the WSB that did that to him. So Jason would see the distinction. And he'd want to, make sure it didn't happen to anybody else. And you're right, goodbye girl. Carly is Carly. No comparison. She is that bitch, which is one of the reasons I love her so much. Daisy asked if they're putting Laura with Ezra. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. They've kind of seemed to be laying the groundwork with that. And Laura's summer preview made it seem like they're breaking her and Kevin up, which would make sense since, he's banging a blonde in Maryland. And, running an illegal gambling ring. It makes sense to break them up. Because John Lindstrom is very happy on Beyond the Gates. And I love him on Beyond the Gates. And his character, Joey, over there is a much more interesting character than Kevin is. Honestly, everybody knows Ryan was the more interesting of the twins on GH. I don't know, but we're not talking about really the other shows. This is really about GH tonight. I don't know that I can't imagine Beyond the Gates could possibly be worse than Bold and the Beautiful, so I can't answer your question. But we have been here for an hour and a half. It's 11:30, and I have Field Trip Friday tomorrow morning. So I'm going to sign off, but I'm going to tell you guys, we have some really interesting things coming up. We have a bunch of new podcasts starting, and I'm really excited about a couple of them. I agree with you. I like Daniel Cosgrove as Ezra, and I think he could be really good with Laura. Um, they've shown him as, a more layered character already. So, but as I was saying, we have some really great new podcasts that are going to be starting in the fall. We're going to be doing an announcement podcast where we introduce all of them. I will give you guys a little bit of a hint. I'm going to be doing one that's going to be very interactive and more interactive than just a podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Donald and I are going to host it together, but shh, you guys are going to be really excited about it. And we just have a lot more stuff coming on. Now, if there are any more of these that you guys want us to do or want me to do, these one-off things where, I talk about things like I did the one about ratings, and then tonight was about the notches on various bedposts. I'm thinking about doing some with different family trees on GH and maybe some of the other soaps as well. And yeah, a bunch of stuff like that, like best villains and just all kinds of stuff like that. But if there's a subject that you guys would like me to delve into, please feel free to DM me or just post on one of my multiple Twitter posts. I read all of my things. Susan Moore's storyline is not as well known as Lucy's because Susan Moore was only on for a couple years and Lucy has been on for 30 years, more than 30 years. That's there. That doesn't need to be a podcast. Sorry. I mean, I can do some with how, characters like Lucy were introduced and, where she went, how she went from mousy librarian to the saucy vixen she is today. I could do stuff like that. But as far as why Susan Moore's storyline is not as known, it's because she was only on for a couple years. That was it. But yeah, so if there's anything you guys would like to see me do, absolutely let me know. If there are any podcast ideas you have, or any that you guys even want to host, because we're bringing on new people under the podcast umbrella and we're monetized. So soon that will be money. And the show business is relaunching as well for September because the boys are going back to school and this house, all the repairs and everything will be done. That damn dumpster behind me better get gone soon. But all of that stuff will be done and we'll be back on track, and I'll be rich with time to do writing and to talk to you guys with podcasts and all that other fun stuff. And I'll be doing more lives and stuff like that. Colton was fun. The character of Colton, I'm assuming you mean, not the guy who played Nicholas for a while because he was a scuzzbag. But yeah, Colton was a fun character. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. This has been a lot of fun, and it ended up being a lot more interactive than I thought it would. And I think we can all agree that the men tend to be much bigger sluts in Port Charles than the women are. And we need to stop bashing soap characters to, for being how soap characters are supposed to be. Oh, Goodbye Girl wants to see a triangle of Ezra, Laura, and Sunny. Huh. Well, I mean, whatever. ABC, baby. ABC. They could be a throuple as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. As long as Carly's nowhere near it. They can, Sunny can do whatever. So, I wonder what the actor's doing now. I'll have to look into that. Do one on what if they were still alive. I actually absolutely love that idea. I had actually thought it would have been great if Monica had left the house to Jason and him and Carly were together and married, and they brought Emily back and she lived at the mansion, and Emily and Carly could be like Monica and Tracy were with the bickering and not liking each other. I think that would have been a really great homage to history. I love when they do those things. Anyway, but yes, absolutely. Why they shouldn't kill off legacy characters. That can absolutely be one. And what could have happened if they didn't. That will absolutely, I'm writing it down right now. So you will see me again doing these, and I'm open for suggestions. And I really hope you guys have a really great weekend. And I will see you no later than Monday. Yeah, I might pop in for, I'm going to pop in and do more lives here and there just because it's fun. So, all right, have a really great night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, and tune in. Stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of stuff for you. Mwah.